Human takes worthless spaceship. Fuel Reservoir holds a galaxy-shocking secret. Eli Novak had never been rich, and he never expected to be, but he had something that mattered even more, a sharp eye for opportunity. Most humans living on the fringe worlds of the galaxy had learned early that they needed two things to survive: courage and the ability to see value where everyone else saw trash. Eli had both. On the outermost rim of the Zorath sector, the spaceport of Kyrell Station was little more than a scattering of metal platforms and rusting hangars. Ships of every shape and size drifted lazily above the docks, their hulls scarred from countless skirmishes, meteor strikes, and engine failures. Alien traders moved through the crowded corridors, their voices a constant chatter in languages Ellie did not know, but had learned to ignore. That morning, Eli's boots clanged against the metal walkway as he made his usual rounds, scanning for anything that others might have missed. That was when he saw it. A freighter like no other. Or rather, like all the others. The hull was streaked with rust. Its paint had peeled away decades ago. The engines were covered with grime, and one of the landing gears was bent awkwardly, threatening to collapse under its weight. A faded name, the Wraith, was barely readable along the side. Its lights flickered weakly, as if the ship itself were dying. Most people would have looked at it and walked away. A dozen alien merchants were already laughing nearby, calling it worthless. Scrap metal, one of them said. Better to sell the pieces than waste time fixing it. Eli, however, felt a strange pull. He had learned that the galaxy often hid its treasures behind layers of dust and decay. Something about the Wraith whispered of possibilities, secrets that only a daring hand could uncover. He stepped closer, brushing a layer of dust from the hull. Bare. His fingers traced a series of strange, almost imperceptible markings near the fuel intake. Symbols, intricate and unfamiliar, etched faintly into the metal. Eli frowned. He had studied hundreds of alien ships in his lifetime, but he had never seen anything like this. Without another thought, he made his decision. He approached the station master, an old, grumpy Zorathian with 4 eyes and 2 sets of arms, and negotiated a claim. The price was small, almost laughable because no one else saw value in the ship. Eli handed over the credits, and the Wraith was his. Tugging the freighter toward the dock, Eli felt a thrill he had not felt in years. Most people believe that the value of a ship came from its outward appearance: shiny hulls, powerful engines, luxury cabins. Eli knew better. The true value often hid inside, in systems untouched for decades, in components that seemed dead but weren't, in secrets waiting for the right hand to uncover them. Base. As soon as the Wraith was secured at a quiet dock, Eli climbed aboard. The air inside was stale and cold, carrying the faint scent of rust and old fuel. Cobwebs clung to corners, and the control panels were coated with dust. But Eli didn't flinch. He had cleaned far worse ships in his life. His first stop was the fuel reservoir, a massive cylinder tucked deep in the hold. He opened the access panel and shone his flashlight inside. Nothing but old fuel stains and residue met his eyes. He frowned, running a hand along the surface. That's when he noticed it. A faint vibration, almost imperceptible, pulsing from the walls of the tank. Curious, Eli pressed his palm against the metal. The vibration grew stronger, spreading through his fingers into his arm. A low hum filled the room, vibrating through the hull of the ship. He stumbled back, eyes wide. What on earth? The markings he had seen on the exterior glowed faintly in response to his touch. Bay. Symbols moved, rearranged themselves, and for a brief moment, the metal seemed alive. Eli's heart pounded. He had touched many advanced systems before, but nothing like this. The fuel reservoir was more than a tank. It was something else. He spent hours inspecting it, jotting down notes and sketches. The hum seemed almost intelligent, responding to his movements and touch. When he tapped a certain symbol, the tank projected a faint holographic glow, showing shapes that looked like star maps, but unlike any star maps Eli had ever seen. This isn't just fuel, Ellie muttered to himself. This information, technology, something beyond the galaxy's understanding. The thrill of discovery surged through him, but so did caution. He knew the galaxy was full of beings who would kill to claim such a prize. If word got out that a human had found a reservoir that held secrets no one else understood, there would be hunters, empires, mercenaries, pirates. All of them would see him as nothing more than a weak, insignificant human, easy to eliminate. But Eli did not feel fear.
Humans had a way of surviving where others failed, he reminded himself. They improvised.
They adapted. They faced odds that seemed impossible. And somehow, they endured.
That was what made humans remarkable. That was what made him remarkable.
He took a step back, letting the hum fade into silence. The ship seemed calm again, but Eli knew better. The Wraith was alive in ways no one else could imagine. And it had chosen him. That evening, he sat in the pilot's chair, staring at the control panels. The engines creaked and groaned as he ran a systems check, but everything essential still functioned. The ship was old, yes, but it had potential. The galaxy had underestimated it, and that made it perfect. "All right, old girl," he said softly, resting a hand on the console. "Let's see what secrets you're hiding." Hours passed as he explored the ship, mapping the circuits, examining the fuel reservoir, and documenting everything. Every now and then the hum returned, subtle and pulsing, like the heartbeat of a living creature. Eli was careful, respecting it, testing it gently. He did not know what it would do if provoked. But he was confident one thing. Whatever was inside, it had power. And that power could change the course of the galaxy, if handled correctly.
Outside the quiet dock, the stars of the Zorath sector stretched endlessly.
Aliens went about their business, oblivious to the fact that a single human had claimed a ship that could rewrite galactic history. They saw a scavenger, a nobody. Eli saw opportunity, brilliance, and perhaps even destiny. He leaned back in the pilot's chair, exhaustion settling in. Tomorrow he would begin the real work, understanding the fuel reservoir, learning its secrets, and testing the ship. For now, he allowed himself a small smile. The galaxy might have laughed at the Wraith, but he knew better. The joke was on them. Because humans, Eli thought as he drifted into a light sleep, were never as weak as others believed. And a human with a ship like this? That was a force the galaxy could not ignore. As the station lights dimmed and the crowd thinned, the Wraith sat quietly in the dock, its ancient hull creaking softly, the faintest glow from the fuel reservoir pulsing like a heartbeat. Besa. Somewhere deep inside, secrets waited. And Eli Novak, human and scavenger, had just begun to uncover them, but the galaxy might never see him coming. But when it did, it would remember. Eli Novak woke to the faint hum of the ship, a subtle vibration that ran through the floorboards like a living pulse. He rubbed his eyes and glanced at the control panel, half expecting the glow to have disappeared, but the fuel reservoir hidden deep in the hold was faintly shining. But something inside it was calling to him. Not with words, not with sound, but with a quiet insistence, as though the ship itself wanted to be understood. Eli had learned to trust instincts like this. If he ignored it, he might lose the chance to discover something extraordinary. He pulled on his boots and grabbed a portable scanner. Carefully, he descended into the hold. The air was stale and smelled faintly of burnt fuel, but Eli didn't mind. His eyes widened as he examined the reservoir again. The strange symbols etched into the metal were now clearer, almost glowing, responding to the subtle touch of his hand. Cautiously, he placed his scanner near the surface. Data poured in faster than anything he had ever seen. Energy readings, star maps, unknown coordinates, and sequences of numbers that seemed to encode something. He leaned closer, studying the patterns. They were not random. They were deliberate, organized, intelligent. "This isn't just a fuel tank," Eli whispered, his voice trembling slightly with excitement. "It's a data core. A star map. A library of technology." He tapped another symbol. The hum increased, vibrating through the room and lifting the dust from the floor. Bay. Then, suddenly, a holographic projection appeared above the tank. Stars, planets, and systems unknown to any galactic database shimmered in three-dimensional space.
Eli's jaw dropped. These were coordinates beyond the mapped galaxy, areas humans and aliens alike had assumed were empty.
And scattered among them were symbols he didn't understand, perhaps instructions or energy signatures, possibly pointing to some form of advanced technology. Eli realized that this was far more than a treasure map. This reservoir held the history and secrets of civilizations that had disappeared long ago. It held knowledge that no one in the galaxy had. And somehow, it had chosen him. He spent hours exploring the projection, rotating the star maps, zooming into planetary systems, and tracing the energy patterns. Each new layer revealed more complexity. Some coordinates pulsed faintly with energy. Others displayed symbols resembling equations, perhaps advanced physics that no living being had yet mastered. As he worked, he heard the faint hiss of the docking bay doors. Eli froze, listening. Outside, humans and aliens moved about, unaware of the discovery that had just occurred. He knew he couldn't keep this a secret for long. Word would spread quickly if someone saw the projection or the glowing reservoir. Still, he was determined to understand it first. The galaxy underestimated humans. That had always been their strength. No one expected them to survive against impossible odds, and no one expected a human to claim a prize like this and figure it out.
Eli worked late into the night, using every tool he had to analyze the fuel reservoir.
The projection revealed something unexpected. Some coordinates were connected with faint lines, almost like a network, and at the center of the network was a point that pulsed brighter than all the others. He leaned closer to the hologram, squinting. "What is this?" he muttered. The line from the central point seemed to extend across the galaxy, connecting stars, planets, and strange energy sources. If he was reading it correctly, it wasn't just a star map. It was a guide to something much larger. He traced one of the lines with his finger. As he did, the projection shifted, showing a planet unlike anything he had ever seen. It glowed with faint blue energy, and strange structures rose from its surface, massive and geometric, radiating a quiet power.
Eli's heart raced.
This could be a source of power beyond anything anyone has ever seen, he whispered.
If I can get there! The possibilities were staggering.
But a human alone could unlock something the galaxy had never imagined. But Eli knew he wasn't the only one who would notice. Aliens had sharp eyes for opportunity. Once they learned of this fuel reservoir, they would come for it. And they wouldn't care if he survived. The thought didn't frighten him. It thrilled him. Humans thrived in situations like this. When others relied on sheer numbers or technology, humans relied on creativity, improvisation, and courage. And Eli had all three in abundance. He spent the next day testing the ship, running its engines, checking systems, and ensuring it was spaceworthy. The Wraith was old, but the reservoir's energy seemed to enhance the ship in subtle ways. The engines responded more smoothly than expected, and the control systems reacted faster than they should have. It was as if the ship itself were alive, guiding him, adapting to his presence. Late that afternoon, Eli decided to test the reservoir further. He carefully poured a small amount of fuel into the tank. The moment the liquid touched the interior, the hum intensified, and the holographic projection expanded, filling the hold with bright stars and swirling energy. Eli could barely contain his excitement. The reservoir wasn't just holding data. It was interacting with the fuel, using it to project and perhaps even power itself. If he understood it correctly, the fuel was a medium, a way to access and control the vast technology stored within. Hours passed in a blur. Eli moved between the projection and his scanner, decoding patterns and making notes. It was slow work, but progress came in leaps and bounds. Every symbol he understood, every energy signature he mapped, revealed more about the potential of the reservoir. As night fell, a strange feeling settled over him. The hum had changed, becoming almost rhythmic. Eli paused, listening. For a moment he could swear it was a heartbeat. Not mechanical, not artificial, but alive. The Wraith was no ordinary ship. He leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. The galaxy had underestimated humans, and here he was, holding a secret that could change everything. The fuel reservoir was more than a relic. It was a key. A key to knowledge, to energy, to power beyond imagining. And Eli Novak, human scavenger from the Outer Rim, had unlocked it first. He sat quietly, staring at the hologram, imagining what lay at the center of the network. Civilizations long gone had left this behind for a reason. And maybe, just maybe, humans were the ones meant to find it now. A sudden beep from the scanner pulled him back to reality. The reading indicated an incoming vessel approaching the station. One of the alien freighters from the trade hub. Eli froze, heart racing. He couldn't be sure, but the ship's energy signature felt focused, almost like it was searching. He realized the danger immediately. Word of this discovery couldn't get out. Not yet. The galaxy would come for it, and humans alone had to prepare. But Eli smiled. He wasn't afraid. Humans thrived in danger. In fact, humans survived when the odds were impossible. And humans had creativity and courage that no alien fleet could match. The vessel drew closer, engines humming a familiar tune. Eli's mind raced. He had to protect the reservoir, decode it further, and find a way to test the ship's true capabilities. The galaxy thinks humans are weak, he muttered softly. They're about to find out how wrong they are. And deep inside the fuel reservoir, the hum pulsed stronger, almost like it understood brace, almost like it was waiting for him to make the next move. Eli Novak, human scavenger, was about to awaken the true secret of the Wraith. And when he did, the galaxy would never be the same. Eli Novak's eyes never left the viewfinder of the ship's navigation console. The approaching vessel A sleek and heavily armed alien freighter glided closer to Chiral Station with purpose. Its energy signature was strong and precise, as if it were searching for something or someone. Eli's pulse quickened, but not with fear. Humans were underestimated across the galaxy, but Eli had never been one to cower. He had the Wraith, and the Wraith had secrets that no one else understood. The aliens thought they could intimidate a human scavenger, but they didn't know who they were dealing with. He adjusted the ship's thrusters, testing their responsiveness. Back. Something strange happened. As the fuel reservoir pulsed faintly, the ship seemed to respond faster than it should have. The engines hummed in perfect harmony, as if the ship itself had awakened. Eli's heart skipped. "This is no ordinary freighter," he whispered, "but neither am I." The alien vessel landed lightly on the edge of the station. A hatch opened, and smaller scout drones emerged, scanning the area. Eli knew he had only minutes before they realized he was on the ship. He leaned closer to the fuel reservoir, examining the holographic projections. Energy lines flowed through the maps like rivers of light. A sudden idea struck him. The reservoir didn't just store energy and information. It could manipulate it. If he could channel the energy, maybe he could make the Wraith faster, more agile, even invisible to conventional sensors. Eli worked quickly, recalibrating the ship's systems while keeping one eye on the approaching alien drones. The hum from the reservoir intensified, vibrating through the floor, through the walls, through his very bones. Bah! It was alive, intelligent, and responding to him. Finally, with a soft click, the system synced. The holographic star maps aligned with the ship's navigation grid. The fuel reservoir began to glow brighter, projecting streams of energy along the hull. The engines roared, not loud, but with a strength that promised raw speed. Eli grinned. He had no weapons, no allies. Only a ship and his wits. But that was enough. Humans had survived for millennia by using brains when others used brawn. The drones paused, hovering near the ship. Their scanners began sweeping the hull. Eli held his breath, then activated a subtle energy field generated by the reservoir. The drone's sensors went haywire. Their readings flickered, then stabilized incorrectly. To the aliens, it was as if the ship had vanished. Eli exhaled slowly. The Wraith wasn't just a ship. It was a living, breathing weapon, a ghost in the shadows. And he was its master. Minutes later, the alien freighter sent a transmission. Their voices were harsh, clipped, and demanding. "We know you are there. Surrender the vessel." Eli smiled, fingers flying across the controls. He replied in the universal trade language, his tone calm, almost casual. "I think you have the wrong ship." "Boss."
"I'm just a scavenger, nothing valuable here."
The aliens didn't believe him. They never did. But Eli didn't intend to convince them. He had a plan. He needed to test the Wraith's capabilities fully, and the only way to do that was in open space. With a deep breath, he engaged the ship's engines and lifted off. The moment the Wraith left the dock, the fuel reservoir pulsed intensely. Streams of energy wrapped around the ship like a second skin. The station below shrank as he ascended, and the alien freighter scrambled its drones to follow. Eli navigated through asteroid belts, using the terrain to his advantage. The Wraith weaved effortlessly, faster than any scout or patrol vessel could anticipate. When a drone fired its disruptor beam, Eli triggered a pulse from the reservoir. The energy deflected the beam harmlessly into space. Not bad for a ship they called worthless, he muttered with a grin.
Hours passed as Eli tested the limits.
The Wraith could bend light slightly, making it difficult to see. Its engines could accelerate far beyond human or alien expectations. And most importantly, it could channel energy from the reservoir to protect itself. Every movement, every test reinforced one truth. The galaxy had underestimated humanity, and humanity at its best thrived where others failed. But the alien freighter wasn't giving up. It tracked him relentlessly, sending more drones, more signals, more warnings. Eli realized that if he wanted to survive, he couldn't just rely on speed. He needed strategy. Humans didn't survive by charging blindly. They survived by thinking, by planning, by improvising. Beat. He led the freighter into a dense asteroid field. Massive rocks drifted slowly through the void, some as big as cities. Alien drones hesitated, unsure of the terrain. Eli adjusted the ship's energy field, allowing the Wraith to slip between asteroids with precision, turning the environment into a trap. A drone collided with a floating rock, spinning out of control. Another miscalculated and veered off course.
Ellie grinned wider. The galaxy's greatest fleets relied on raw power.
Humans relied on cunning, and cunning had a way of winning where power failed. As night fell in the sector, Eli decided to push the ship further. He activated a higher energy mode in the reservoir, letting it amplify the engines beyond safe limits. The Wraith surged forward, streaking past stars and asteroids like a comet. The alien freighter struggled to keep up, and Eli realized he had created something revolutionary. A human-made supership, powered not by fuel alone but by intelligence, adaptation, and ingenuity. He had survived countless skirmishes and dangerous runs across the outer rim, but nothing compared to this. Best. Here he was, alone, against a superior alien force, relying only on his wits and a ship they all thought worthless. And yet, he was winning. Eli took a moment to observe the fuel reservoir. Its glow had steadied into a soft, pulsing light. Almost like it was approving. The Wraith had chosen him, trusted him, and now he understood why. Together, they were more than human or machine. They were a force the galaxy had never anticipated.
The alien freighter sent one last warning, their voice crackling over the transmission.
You cannot escape. We will track you across the sector and you will surrender. Eli laughed. Bray. You underestimate humans, he said softly, almost to himself. We don't give up. We survive. We adapt. And we don't follow the rules you think exist. With that, he activated the reservoir fully, letting the energy surge through the engines. The Wraith disappeared into a shimmer of light, moving faster than the aliens could track. One by one, the drones fell behind or malfunctioned, unable to process the ship's sudden speed and unpredictable maneuvers. Hours later, Eli finally slowed, floating in the calm of deep space. The alien freighter had given up for now, retreating to plan another attack. Eli's body ached from tension, but his mind was sharp, exhilarated. He had survived. He had won.
And he had learned something more important than any alien technology. The galaxy underestimated humans at its own risk.
Humans thrived on improvisation, courage, and intelligence. Humans did the impossible and thrived when the odds were against them. Ellie leaned back in the pilot's chair, staring at the stars. The fuel reservoir hummed softly, pulsing in time with his heartbeat. Together they had survived the first trial. But he knew this was only the beginning. The projection from the reservoir still glowed, showing the network of energy and stars.
At its center,
The brightest point pulsed stronger than ever. Eli felt it deep in his chest. A calling. Something powerful awaited. Something that could change the course of the galaxy forever. Bay. And he, a single human among billions of beings, had the chance to claim it first. Tomorrow, he whispered, determination burning in his eyes. We go further. Beth. We find the secret at the center, and the galaxy will remember why humans should never be underestimated. The stars stretched endlessly before him, silent witnesses to a human who had taken a worthless ship and turned it into a legend in the making. And deep inside the fuel reservoir, a hum grew louder, almost like a heartbeat racing in temptation. It was ready. So was Eli. The game was only beginning. Eli Novak floated in the quiet expanse of deep space, staring at the pulsing light from the fuel reservoir. The wraith hummed softly beneath him, alive with energy and possibility. After days of testing, evading, and decoding, Eli finally felt he was ready to push further, to follow the star network to its brightest point, the heart of the reservoir's secret. The coordinates led him to an uncharted star system, one that did not exist in any galactic database. A massive blue star burned in the center, surrounded by planets and strange energy fields that twisted light in unnatural ways. Eli's stomach tightened in excitement and awe. The reservoir had led him here. The heart of the map was not just a planet, it was a source of unimaginable energy, possibly the key to controlling the stability of entire star systems.
This is it, Eli whispered, eyes wide.
The center. He guided the wraith closer, carefully navigating through fields of floating debris and unstable energy currents. The ship responded like an extension of his own body. The reservoir pulsed in rhythm with the currents, giving him guidance, almost as if it were alive. When they broke through the outer layers of energy, Eli gasped. The planet at the center of the system was magnificent and terrifying. Vast structures rose from its surface, geometric and impossibly precise, radiating soft blue energy into the void. The atmosphere shimmered with a strange light that danced across the sky. Eli realized this was not just a planet, it was a monument, a machine, and perhaps a library of knowledge built by a civilization far older than any in the galaxy. Eli docked cautiously on a landing platform, feeling the hum of the planet's energy through the hull. As he stepped out of the ship, he noticed how everything seemed to respond to him. The ground beneath his boots vibrated slightly, as if acknowledging his presence. The fuel reservoir's glow matched the pulses of energy from the planet. The wraith and this place were connected. He explored slowly, every step cautious, but eager. Best strange symbols lined the walls of the structures, glowing faintly when he approached. Eli scanned them, and to his amazement, some of the symbols were mirrored in the reservoir's holographic star map. He realized the reservoir was designed as a key, a translator, a guide to access this ancient technology. Hours passed, but Eli felt no fatigue. His mind raced with possibilities. He could unlock energy technologies beyond imagination, stabilize entire systems, and even harness the power to prevent cosmic disasters. But he also understood the responsibility. Such power could be used for domination, destruction, or control. Humans had always survived by cleverness, courage, and moral choices. He would need all of these qualities now. Eli approached the central chamber of the largest structure. Energy arcs danced across the walls, converging on a floating orb suspended above a pedestal. The orb pulsed like a heartbeat, and as he reached out, it reacted, projecting a holographic interface around him. The reservoir hummed in response, its energy feeding into the planet's systems. "All right," Eli said softly. "Let's see what you want me to do." The interface displayed a complex network of energy lines, showing unstable star systems, rogue energy flows, and planets at risk of collapse. Eli realized the orb wasn't just a repository of power, it was a stabilizer, a sentient system designed to manage cosmic energy and prevent destruction, and now it had chosen him, a human, to activate it. Despair. His heart pounded. The galaxy had underestimated humans for centuries, believing them weak, reckless, and insignificant. But here he was, a lone human, trusted by technology older than any civilization alive today. Eli felt a surge of pride, tempered by responsibility. He activated the reservoir fully, letting its energy merge with the orb. Streams of power flowed along the star lines in the hologram, correcting instabilities and balancing the energy of systems light years away. Eli could feel the currents through his body, and the wraith vibrated in harmony with him. Together, human and machine, they were channeling energy that no one else in the galaxy could comprehend. Far across the sector, sensors detected massive shifts in cosmic energy. Rogue supernovae slowed, unstable planets stabilized, and dangerous energy bursts dissipated. Galaxies far from the Zorath sector were unknowingly saved by the actions of one human in a ship no one had thought worth repairing. Eli smiled. Bet. Humans did not survive because of strength alone. They survived because of courage, intelligence, and the willingness to act when others hesitated. He had proven it, and in a way the galaxy would never forget. But even as he worked, Eli knew the danger was not gone. Alien fleets that had chased him before would soon notice the energy surge. Some would see humans as a threat to their dominance, others as a prize to claim. Eli had only hours before they arrived. He decided to act preemptively. Using the reservoir, he amplified the Wraith's speed and stealth, creating a field that allowed him to traverse space faster than any ship pursuing him. He sent a controlled energy pulse toward the alien fleet's sensors, temporarily scrambling their systems. By the time they recovered, Eli was already light years away, invisible to conventional tracking. Hours later, he returned to the uncharted planet to complete the activation of the central orb. The energy line stabilized fully, the planet's structures glowing with a soft, constant light. Eli felt a sense of completion. The reservoir had guided him, tested him, and now trusted him with its ultimate purpose. He stood quietly, looking at the orb.
"You chose me," he whispered, "and I won't waste this trust."
Humans will not fail. The glow of the reservoir softened, the ship's systems humming in quiet acknowledgement.
The Wraith had proven itself more than a ship. It was a companion, a partner, and a symbol of human ingenuity. Together they had achieved what countless alien empires could not, using intelligence, courage, and resourcefulness to control forces far beyond conventional understanding. As he prepared to leave the planet, Eli plotted a course back toward the Zorath sector. He would need to hide the reservoir for now, to study it further and ensure that no one misused its power. But he knew the galaxy had seen a glimpse of what humans could accomplish. The journey back was quiet, giving Eli time to reflect. Whoa. He thought of the countless times humans had been dismissed, underestimated, and underestimated again. And yet, here he was, steering a worthless ship with the fate of multiple star systems in his hands. This is what humans do, he murmured. We survive. We adapt. We turn the impossible into the possible. And we never ever stop reaching for what others think is out of our grasp. By the time the Wraith returned to the outskirts of Cairo Station, the sun of the Zorath sector was rising, painting the metal platforms in soft gold light. Eli landed the ship quietly, careful not to draw attention. The alien fleets were still out there, but for now, the secret was safe. He climbed out of the cockpit, stretching and smiling. Great. For the first time in days, he felt truly accomplished. The Wraith had transformed from a scrap heap into a legend. Bess. The Reservoir had revealed its secret, and humanity had, once again, proven itself capable of greatness beyond expectation. Breath. Eli looked up at the stars, feeling the vastness of space press against him. Somewhere out there, civilizations were unaware that a human had changed the course of their futures. And somewhere out there, the galaxy had begun to notice that humans were no longer insignificant. The Wraith sat quietly behind him, its hull gleaming faintly in the morning light, the hum of the reservoir pulsing softly like a heartbeat. Eli Novak had taken a worthless ship, unlocked a galaxy-shocking secret, and in doing so had reminded the universe of one simple truth: humans survive, humans adapt, and humans can accomplish the impossible. And as he prepared for the adventures that lay ahead, Eli smiled. The galaxy might have thought they understood humans, but they had only just begun to learn. Because the story of a human and a worthless ship had only just begun, and the legend would echo across the stars for generations to come.